Everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good? What's good? What's good? So yeah, it's a very early morning. There's my first note to everyone. Don't forget to invest in yourselves today. You know how important that is. Your first investment is always in yourself. So go get some knowledge, right? Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. That's the GMB 3, and that's what we practice all day, every day. So there's been a lot that's going on. We have a lot of economic data that's supposed to hit this week, but the most important topic that we're going to talk about is Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell accuses the DOJ of politically motivated criminal probe over interest rate policy disagreements, with investigations focusing on the $2.5 billion headquarters renovations. Trump denies knowledge, and Powell's term ends in May of this year. Now, there is absolutely zero doubt that this is a politically motivated investigation, and to me should be illegal. I think it's going to fall on its face. I think everybody involved is going to pay a price for it, except for Powell and his team. They just have to endure it. And that's what I find to be disgusting. The job is hard enough without some president who barely knows how to keep a company afloat. You know, what is it, 6 or 7 different bankruptcies, trying to tell him how to do his job. At some point, the courts are going to kick back and they're going to be like, enough is enough. Let the man do his job. And here's the stupidity of it all. Absolutely nothing is going to change by bringing this case. He thinks that maybe by bringing this case, they'll be able to fire him for cause. And yeah, that's not going to be a thing. That's not going to be a thing at all. Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. And there comes a point when you're defaming somebody. The president might get away with that. Nobody else will. You know, a bunch of friends of mine were speaking about this last night, and we were saying to each other, you know, not everything that's going on is wrong, but in this case, absolutely wrong. At some point, history catches up to you. At some point, somebody's going to pay the piper. And let me tell you something. It's not the president that'll pay the piper. It's everybody that follows. Ask Oliver North. Don't know that name? Go do your own research. I don't care what your policies are, but you're going to investigate the guy who is completely transparent about everything that was going on. And so you're not going to bring a case. You can bring all the subpoenas you want. That case is not going to stand up. It's not. All you're doing is making his job more difficult. All you're doing is ensuring that he's going to do exactly what he feels is best for the country. That's what's going to happen. That is exactly what's going to happen. What amazes me is that how this regime turns on everybody that works for it. Just about everybody that works for it. There are very few protected people, right? That people still accept jobs with this regime. I'm amazed. I am amazed. History will not see you well. If you're involved in this case, history will not see you well at all. Let Powell do his job. Let Powell finish out his term. You've got 4.5 months. This is ridiculous. This is utterly ridiculous. And all it does is make the United States look foolish on the global stage. I don't know about you, but I find that to be disgusting. I find it to be ridiculous. Like I said, history will not be well to many. Just saying. Analysts suggest the yuan is 30% undervalued against the dollar, with current exchange rates at 7 yuan per dollar, while Chinese officials hint at potential rises to 4 to 5 yuan per dollar. Weakening dollar. What does that mean? Lower debt? Maybe. Maybe. I know that it still decreases the value of a dollar. You can buy it for a dollar in this country. I know that it's going to, there are pluses and minuses to every movement of the dollar, whether it goes up, whether it goes down. There are pluses and minuses to both directions. Right now, people are feeling the pain of higher prices. They're saying, oh, but inflation is abating. That means nothing to somebody that's got to make a choice between eating or getting to work the next day, between health care and child care. Means nothing. It's yet another problem, another burden. I think that there needs to be a new law that says you cannot lay people off if you're in the black. You should not be buying back stocks if your people are not earning a livable wage. If you have anybody on your payroll that is on government subsidies, that should not be. Like I said, we have economic data today. We'll go over the numbers a little bit later, but there's a lot that's going on this week. And I think that, we're going to have to start rethinking what we're doing here in the United States. We can't keep saying we're the best country in the world when other countries have healthcare for everyone. We give so much money to Israel. How come we give all that money to Israel and we don't have healthcare for everyone? Israel does. I'm not saying that money shouldn't be sent, but I am saying, how are we sending out money to other countries before fixing our own? Take care of your own backyard first. Then you can help other people. Just saying. But there's just too much ridiculousness going on. The SEC extends crypto ETF deadlines and opens public comment for a third proposal evaluating Canary Capital's Pengu ETF, NFT focused, and T. Rowe Price's active crypto ETF, while Grayscale's crypto ETF options are under comment phase. Fatima, how are you? Good morning, Grand Risings. So we've got a few ETFs that are kind of in limbo. The one that I find most interesting, Grayscale's options. And it's in the comment phase. That's the one that I find most interesting. I want to see that happen. I absolutely want to see that happen. Thank you very much for letting us know that this is how you're starting your day investing in yourself. Love that. Oh, by the way, I did sit down last night and come up with a preliminary outline for the class. Yes, the small business class. What we're going to do is I'm creating a class that will help people on the buy side and on the sell side of small and medium-sized businesses so that you can understand what each other are looking at, right? Because right now you have a huge wealth transfer that can happen, is happening, by the way. Sorry about that. Small and medium-sized businesses, those people are looking to get out of business because they're ready to retire or they feel like they're done, and they're having a hard time selling those businesses. Want to know why? They don't know how to value their business. They don't know how to put together the packets for their business. They don't know how to identify real buyers versus kick the tires. So by giving a class that demonstrates both sides of the equation, both parties walk into that deal, that possible deal, with better and more knowledge about what's going on. So yes, I am absolutely putting together that class. I have not put together the price for it. Right now, the class is about 3 hours as I look at all the content that we have and everything that we have to go through. And it's more than just going through numbers. Most of these classes that you see about this, well, you're not that you'll even see that many classes about this, but a lot of classes that you see about this are focused on number calculation, the valuation process, all that stuff, right? It's way beyond that. It's a mental game. There's quick math that you can do to figure out if you're going to get there or not. That's what tells you, should I move forward with looking underneath the hood? And even that math is very simple. You punch in some numbers, boom, and the numbers say yes or no. And then you have those situations like my son, like I was describing before, where my son identified a business he wants to buy. The original price was $240,000. Person dropped it to $105,000. Now that sends off a lot of red flags to me. There were a lot of things in this process that sent off a lot of red flags. My son and I agreed that there are some red flags that we would need to deal with. So we sat there and we spoke about that. The difference is that my son comes from the same industry. He's not leaving, the industry to make this purchase. He's staying within his bounds to make this purchase. So he's like, listen, there are things that I might be able to do to make it better. But that means that you're walking into a business that's in the red, not necessarily in the black. So there's more work that has to happen. And these are the kind of things that we're going to be covering in that class. So Fatima, I hope you're happy. Yeah. You and 8 Paws. I hope you're happy. So yeah, we are going to put it on. What I'm going to do is when I'm comfortable with the content that I'm going to share and the timeline for the business, and I've come up, with the class, and I've come up with a price tag for it. I will set a date, and that will be it. If it's 1 people or 100 people, I will give the class. Anyway, back to news. Shiba Inu's SHIB owes you recovery plan. How dope is that they got hacked last year, or Shibarium got hacked last year, and their recovery plan is called Shiba owes you, or SHIB owes you. Is that dedication? Is that transparency? I think so. Might have taken them a minute, but they let us know what's going on. I am a bag holder, and I'm 100% comfortable with this. What's my projected date for the class? I was thinking February, so it's either going to be late February, early March. I'm thinking late February. Depends on how the days line up. It's probably going to be a Saturday. All right. I don't want it to be a Sunday. I'll probably be a Saturday, probably be early in the morning on a Saturday, early Eastern Standard Time. I'll try to set that time so I can account for people that might be in California that want to take the class. That's probably where we are right now. That's probably where we are. Yes, there will be class materials, things like that. What I'm thinking about doing is there's a big bagger investor group on the site. That's one thing. And then I'm thinking about making this a separate group on the other side. So we'll see about that. I think that's the way to go, because I think there are a lot of people that have a lot of questions about buying and selling businesses, and we can give you guys your own separate feed, your own separate news, all that kind of stuff on that side, as well as that feed will give you a space to ask questions from that community. So I think that could wind up being a very big deal. And of course, yours truly will be there to help facilitate, right? I hope that answers your question. What else do we have? Tether faces scrutiny over a $1 billion alleged Iranian crypto transaction via USDT on Tron. On the Tron network, they've only been able to stop thus far 162 million of it, meaning claw it back. They have to see what's going on with that space. I would tell you, it's not as easy as you think. We're just going to stop the money. That's not quite how it works, right? It's not as easy as you think. So in a matter of 2 days, they went from clawing back or freezing $1.5 million to freezing $162 million. Yes, it's a far cry from the 1 billion, but you see how that happens. You have to properly identify things before you can do this stuff. You have to unwind and unravel a whole bunch of information. So it's not an easy thing. And what I'm amazed about is the scrutiny that they're getting, even though that company works side by side with law enforcement for these kinds of things. They work the most with. Just saying. Just saying. It's just that sometimes people are like, oh, you're not doing enough. Do you know how? Go do some research on how much money Tether has frozen or clawed back on behalf of law enforcement. Go do that research. There's a reason why I like them. Big reason. So what else do I have? There's actually a few things. Tennessee regulators halt crypto platforms Kalshi, Polymarket, and Crypto.com from offering sports event contracts. That is, I think that's a good thing. Because those contracts, what are they? It's betting. They want to vet that first. Okay, cool. Go vet that. But if you've got gambling in your state, you shouldn't have a problem with it. And I have to recall if Tennessee has gambling in the state. Solana releases validator update 3.0.14 for the mainnet beta in October. That's what happened in October. They're pleading with everybody to go ahead and go do that. And I'm kind of like, interesting. We'll see what happens. I'd like to see continuous reports on how many validators are doing this. That would be a very big deal. That would be a great thing. And you guys let me sit here all this time and not have my logo up? Really? Nobody said anything? The nerve. I just happened to look up and see that it wasn't there. US CPI expects 2.7% headline rate for December numbers, matching November, while PPI data hints at stable inflation. Supreme Court's January 14th opinion day could invalidate Trump's tariffs. That's the next time that we see something. That's this week. Remember, we were thinking we were going to see something this past Friday, and now maybe we'll see something this coming Thursday. We'll see what happens. South Korea's FSC proposes 5% cap on corporate cryptocurrency investments, restricting eligible cryptos to top 20, with draft guidelines for institutional trading expected by early 2026. What that means is they're putting in guardrails. Now, we might disagree with some of these guardrails, but I'll tell you what, countries around the world need to start putting in guardrails around crypto. Another one that they need to build guardrails for, AI. Companies are starting to realize, holy crap, we might have made a bad decision on this. I know Salesforce laid off 4,000 people last year, and now they're choking on it. They're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have done that. You think? AI is good for certain things, not good for other things. They were blasting these commercials for Agent Force, the dumbest name, but Salesforce, Agent Force, get it? The dumbest name, but they're starting to rethink that. And I don't see any of those commercials anymore. I mean, they could still be out there, but I wouldn't be out there bragging about Agent Force knowing fully well that, yeah, you don't want AI to be thinking for you. AI doesn't think, it calculates. It's a freaking algorithm. The lessons that must be taught around that space is ridiculous. And I just wish companies would stop, give me a call, let me and my team come in and help you implement things well. AI is good at certain things. If you put it within the right parameters of operation, you can get some really good results. That should still be checked by a human. It's good at helping. It's not good at replacing. Me and my solution architect, Steven, we crack jokes. I mean, like, every freaking day about how he's going to lose his job. Like, that's the running joke in the office. He's going to lose his job to a robot running AI. We crack up over that every single time. It seems that there seems to just be tons and tons and tons of jokes about it. It's just hilarious to us. Companies aren't thinking straight. Oh, AI can be the panacea for everything. No, if you implement it properly, it's a tool in the toolbox. And just like every other tool, must be checked. The difference with this tool is it can run the same calculation and still be wrong. It can run the same calculation and still be right. That's why you need a human in the loop to actually check things out. That will be, so if we open up that new investor group for small, medium-sized businesses, topics like that will be in there. Topics like that will be in there. And I think that a lot of people can grow from that. Let me know your thoughts. Drop it in the comments. I got no problem with that. U.S. Senate faces challenges finalizing crypto market structure bill as Coinbase advocates for USDC yield program. Why? Because banks are advocating against it. And I keep telling you guys, the reason why they're doing it is because banks want to be the only ones that can actually pay you some kind of a quote unquote reward or interest rate for keeping your money there. And if companies like Coinbase, get to do that, where are you going to put your money? Because they're offering more. Yeah. I saw an article the other day. You know how I keep saying, back in the day that banks used to offer you like toasters and microwaves and stuff like that. Somebody was listening to me and actually created an image of somebody handing you a toaster. Just saying. I just found it to be funny. It just makes me giggle. In the EU, small and medium-sized enterprises are finding alternative ways versus going to the banks to go get lending. Yup. Compromising 99% of the businesses employ 89.8 million people, but face tightened credit standards since 2024, prompting growth in alternative lending platforms using Web3 tech at 13.6% annually through 2029. Yeah. Tighter standards. What does that say to you? You don't meet the standards right now to go get a loan. So you go the alternative means. You're paying higher rates in the United States. We call that hard money. And yeah, that could be a problem. Why can't you meet those standards? Another topic that we probably have to cover in that group. Wow, the more I talk about it, the more I think that we should create the group. Alibaba's cloud Qwen AI models hit 700 million Hugging Face downloads. That says that it is the #1 open source LLM, brand that's out there. #1, open source. 700 million downloads. What does that say to you? It says that people are going local with their AI. That's what it says. I use AI as a tool, but I use it for very specific things. What AI do I use? Oh, my local version. We've got 10 nodes to help us with all of our work. Yeah, pay attention, folks. Pay attention. Great skill to have. One of my friends told me, oh, she's great at ChatGPT. It's like, no, that's not what that means. I know you think no, that's not what that means. Have you built anything using AI? Has AI enhanced you in performing a task? They want to hear stories like that. It's sort of like, when was the last time you built a spreadsheet? Remember when Excel first came out? Remember when Lotus 123 first came out? Remember when Microsoft Word first came out? Remember when Access Database first came out? Remember when all of those products first came out? It was, do you know how to do this with that product? Do you know how to do that with that product? Do you know how to do this, do that, do this, do that? Do you know how to leverage this tool to its fullest ability in order to get your job done? How much of a creative thinker are you? That's what they're really asking. I keep referring to this. There was an interview with Mark Cuban, and they asked him, what do you think the #1 skill is to have in business? And the man said creativity. And people immediately went to, what, everybody's supposed to be a graphic designer? A creative thinker is a problem solver. Boom. There you go. Walmart partners with Google to integrate Gemini AI into its platform for AI-driven shopping. That's a big deal. That's a very big deal. Think about it. It's sort of like having a personal shopper built in. That's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, folks. Because one of the things that these companies want to do, especially online, is they want to stop the returns. They want to bring that number down. That's where they spend the most amount of money, is in returns. So they make note of who's buying 5 things of different sizes to try on jeans. And if you have too many of those, they might want to penalize you. And it's kind of like, that's a part of your business. Because if I went to a physical store, I might try on, especially women, I might try on 5 jeans, different sizes, different cuts, because we all know that you could have the same size and have them fit completely differently. Yeah. And now they're taking tactics that say, well, if you return things too much, you should know your size. If you return things too much, you might get penalized. You're definitely noted. And I'm like, you people are so, yeah, that. Anyway, you know what we should do? That's right. We should go over the numbers. Let's go do this. Let's see. Let's flip that. Let me get my notes out of the way. Now, Dow futures implied open crash. Why? Because of Powell. Implied futures for Dow futures implied open 366 points down. S&P futures implied open 42.25 points down. Nasdaq implied open 216 points down. Oil down 0.49. US 10-year up 0.03. Why is the market crashing right now or projected to crash today? Because this nitwit regime wants to go after Chairman Powell. That's why. The market is literally saying, stupid move. That's what they're saying. This is a stupid move. It's a distraction. Everybody really wants the Epstein files. This is a distraction. But this is a costly distraction. Venezuela was what? A distraction. A costly distraction because he just got told by ExxonMobil, it's uninvestable, buddy. What are you doing? It's uninvestable. And we've lost. The guy went in with his history and was like, we went in 3 times, 2 times before. We had our stuff confiscated. We were kicked out, safety reasons, all that good stuff. Yeah, it's uninvestable. We'll explore it, but yeah, we're not seeing this. I mean, Chevron went in the total opposite direction. Oh, we're going to get in there and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. Yeah. I don't know what kind of Kool-Aid you're talking, what kind of Kool-Aid you're drinking. Kool-Aid, maybe you're shooting it up. But yeah, nah. The oil infrastructure in Venezuela is hosed. So you're also feeling that. What else is this red market from? Oh, yeah, that's right. Because our current regime said that he's going to cap credit cards at 10%. Something he cannot do. There has to be a law. There must be a law. He can't even do that with an executive order. So again, he's disrupting the market for no reason to no end because he knows it cannot happen. In other words, he's paying lip service to the affordability point that everybody's making. Not bright, buddy. Not bright. People are going to see through that. Oh, we're going to stop these companies from buying single family homes. More lip service. Again, would take a rule, a regulation, a law. Not happening right now. That's not going to happen. Nothing but lip service. People are going to see through it because they know you can't do anything about that. You can pressure some of your politicians to bring a bill, to turn it into a law, and then we'll have to see if you actually sign it. Yeah. See how that works? More distractions. More distractions. We don't have time for that. We've got serious problems and we need serious people to actually help us fix those problems. It really is as simple as that. We can't continue to be having these fun and games because look at the market right now. The market is down. For those 3 points, the market is down. The biggest one, the biggest weight, Powell. You're going to go after a guy who's only got 4 months left on his contract? Are you serious? You can't be. Oh, but you are. You poor little child. History is not going to serve you well. Just saying. Now, do we have anybody reporting that I care about this week? Loop Industries? Yeah, I don't care. This week, not just today. JP Morgan, supposedly. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup. So this week is going to be a hot week, isn't it? Wow. Yeah, this week's going to be hot. We're going to be paying attention. U.S. economic data, Monday. We only have Fed speak today from Tom Barkin, Raphael Bostic, and John Williams. Tomorrow, we get NFIB optimism. We get CPI year over year. Then Wednesday, we get PPI, existing home sales. Thursday, initial jobless claims. We have a lot of numbers coming out this week. What I want you to pay attention to is we have a lot of Fed speak coming out this week. Pay attention to all of these conversations that are going on. Why? It'll tell you where they're at. It'll help you understand how they're thinking. Just saying, you want to pay attention to these things. You absolutely want to pay attention to these things. What else do we have going on? Fear and greed index is at 27. DeFi Llama. No, I didn't prepare this properly. I'm sorry. Let's go. Stablecoins market cap. Yeah, that one. And right now we're at $124.271 billion in total value locked. You know I prefer to be above 125. We are battling back, but it's not an easy course. Pay attention to this. Crypto did hit above 92 late last night. I remember yapping with my mother last night, and I sent her a note, hey, Bitcoin's at like 91 and change. And then after that, it hit 92, and we're back down to where we are. Again, that 93,434 is serving as resistance. We've hit it, and we've come right back down. And today's numbers, today's comments, today's news is not a good thing to be playing with. Oh, yeah, that's right. You want to know what else is messing up the job market? I mean, the stock market and the crypto market right now. That's right. Jobs last week came in lousy. 50,000. Ooh, the worst since 2003. So what does that do? Now you understand why he started talking about we're going to go after these single family home buys. We're going to go after credit cards, things that he can't do anything about, but he needed to change the narrative. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Do not allow BS headlines to sway you off course. Don't allow that to happen. Be mindful of the mind games, because that's what they are. Gave a lot of lip service to quote unquote affordability topics, but didn't do anything. Rick Ritchie, I hope you have a great day too. So there's a lot of stuff that's out there that you need to pay attention to, that you're going to need to break down, that you're going to have to sift through. That's real news and BS news, because that's not news. It's purely BS. Pay attention to these things. What else do we have going on? Look at the big board and look at that. XMR is up. The heck? Look at that. Oh, and it still messes up. What are you doing here? There you go. Fix itself. So you're looking at XMR being up big time, but you're looking at other opportunities. BTC, XRP, BCH, Sol, if you're into that kind of thing. ADA, XLM, Avalanche, SUI, LTC, Doge, SHIB, Link, Uniswap, Aave, ZEC, Hyperliquid, Ton, SUI, HBAR. Polygon's taking a dip, but I might buy in on that dip. I have to look into it. But there are a lot of opportunities out here, and all you need to do is do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Practice the GMB 3, and that will help you to make more informed decisions. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, side by side, things are looking up, but I think we're going to take a hit later on today because I think liquidity is going to take a squeeze. Just saying, just pointing it out as I see it. Do I think that we could see Bitcoin in the 80s today? Possibly. I would hate to say it, but I hate to see it, but I think it's possible. I think it's possible. Now, let's take a look at the crypto tracker. There you go. Let's take a look at the losers. And losers continue all the way down to here. So Pith Network is down 5.26. Got GMB X factor of 17.57. Virtuals Protocol is down 5.96 with a GMB X factor of 3.96. A lot of people are still yapping their mouths about Jasmy coin. I have not touched it. It's down 6.53 with a GMB X factor of 548.21. Now you know why I don't freaking talk about it. I bring it up only because so many people are yapping about it that it makes me giggle. It really does. Lighter is another one that people are talking about. It's down 7.79 with a GMB X factor of 2.25. Polygon is down 9.92 with a GMB X factor of 7.30. When you get over to the winners, yeah, everybody's moving sideways basically. Monero's up 17.6% with a GMB X factor of 0.03. It's at record highs. That's what that means. It's at record highs. Who else am I paying attention to? Aerodrome Finance up 5.98 with a GMB X factor of 3.05. Chile, something I used to own way back in the day, wouldn't touch it now, is down 5.76 with a GMB X factor of 16.22. And then that's it. Everybody else is moving sideways. Because, you know, I have that 5% rule. If you're below 5%, you're moving sideways. That's honestly how I look at it. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you like what I'm doing. If you do me a favor, smash the likes. Tell your friends about this community because it's the only community that cares about the knowledge that you have about what you're trying to invest in. Hence, we have the GMB3. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Want to learn more? Go buy my 2 books. You will learn a lot, and you'll be able to use them as reference materials as well. So don't just read the book, but you can actually refer back to the book, and you'll see a lot of things in there. Anyway, everybody, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience, and absolutely thank you for your trust. I'll see you again tonight on The Overflow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everybody, I hope you have a good one.